they have really normalized conspiratorial subject matter in order to cover up the stuff that we should be concerned about. I'm Alex Ansary. Welcome to this podcast. And there's a variety of content you're going to see from this channel. Sometimes I'll be on camera. Sometimes we'll be covering news. Sometimes an audio recording. I'll just be going off. And this is going to be one of those moments. So if you look at the media today, and I'm going to cover some major points, I'm going to try to simplify the idea. Not everything is easy to explain to certain people that are in their left-right paradigm. Let's talk about reverse psychology. Establishment hates Alex Jones. Establishment hates Donald Trump. Are you serious? And I think that Donald Trump acts a certain way. Some of these slip-ups, the way that it's easy for the media to seize upon the things that he says, when he backtracks, when he corrects his stances and statements on Russia, those aren't accidents. Donald Trump isn't making any accidents. And I want to make sure that I'm very loud and clear, but not too loud. I want to make sure that I'm loud and clear. There are no accidents. It wasn't an accident when Bush acted like a dumb monkey. It wasn't an accident when Barack Obama bowed before the Saudis and or the Chinese. It's not an accident when Trump does XYZ, and that covers the whole gamut. That covers the whole gamut. So there's a number of different things that I'll subscribe to on Google Alerts over on my Gmail. So anything regarding, for example, solar flares, magnetic field changes, Chinese military, off the grid, Costia County, because I'm curious. I like to keep my focus on that county, any news that comes up. I'll notice in the narrative, we're talking about mainstream journalists, shadow government, deep state, things of that nature. A conspiratorial talk has become the norm in the mainstream. You need to ask yourself why. You need to ask yourself why so many people looking for the truth are being baited back into the mainstream media, whether it's CNN or Fox News. Sometimes they seem different, but if you look at them from another perspective outside the left-right paradigm, they're pushing the same BS. MSNBC, CNBC, CNN, ABC, Fox News, CBS, all the different affiliates, and then watch the copycat reporters and the styles at all the different affiliates. The hundreds of thousands of television affiliates. Watch those reporters. You know, we are in the land and age, the day and age of the psyops also, where anyone that's a part of the so-called mainstream media is demonized as a blood drinker, or as a liberal that wants to declare war on Trump. I mean, there is a history of journalism. People are going to have different opinions. By the way, why aren't people writing or talking about other activist groups, anti-war groups, and not just calling it Antifa? Can someone be a protester in today's day and age and not be called Antifa? Because Antifa is the only word that I hear people using to describe anyone that opposes the Trump world agenda. Antifa. And now Antifa equals terrorist. So what? Anyone that doesn't go along with the Trump agenda is a terrorist? Because certainly anyone that might be seen as a protester is going to be called Antifa now. Surely you see the connection. Surely this isn't difficult for you. And I am all pumped up after looking at that disinformation website that has captivated people. They could say for years, I'm not into conspiracy content. I'm into positivity and stuff. Okay, princess. What's this? I found this under your bed. That's not mine. Yes, you were on this website. Starseed USA, Earth. You look over here, someone's comparing this particular understanding, demonization of particular people, and they think that they're ascended. You see, this conspiracy pop culture has infected the things that we should be concerned about, right? It's a spiritual understanding. It's an inner gnosis, if you will. To look at the world or to look at a large tower and go, oh, that's like, the symbols of power in our world. That's like Sauron's tower from Lord of the Rings. That's an example of a gnosis, someone kind of seeing a parallel, what that movie represented and that Tower of Evil and the towers of evil that surround us today. That's waking up to the Matrix. That's red pilling it. People need to be, if they really want to, I'm not going to use the word ascend, right? But evolve consciously. We can do that individually. As a soul, I think that's our responsibility. They need to be in a mentality of holding themselves accountable when they're not growing, when they're not actually ascending or evolving, when, oh, now I'm looking at news. And yeah, it happens to be the worst of the worst. And do we see most people doing that? And the left-right paradigm is just an expression of that. There's different versions of this. But getting back to our main theme, I'm going to keep this short and sweet, and then pause the thought. I'm thinking about Jesse Ventura again in that Underground Base episode on True TV. Yeah, owned by Ted Turner. So they're bringing out conspiracy theory to us, literally out on a platter. And then here it is, beforeitsnews.com. And here's all this other mainstream. And they're talking about conspiracies straight up, while people like me have been mocked for 10 years, being called a conspiracy theorist. Here's CNN, here's all these networks, and they're talking about this Russia gate, Russia collusion. And in and of itself is a conspiracy theory. There's a little bit of fact within it, but the greater fact is that this involves our entire system in the United States. This involves former presidents that haven't yet been investigated. The whole world order has always included these people behind closed doors working together. This is not like a new concept. People would talk about this in the 90s and 2000s. This was normal for people to talk about the one world order government without having preference for Russia. This was normal back in the day. They infiltrated early on, at least a decade ago, within the grassroots. And it still hasn't ever been discussed anywhere. How it involves Alex Jones, why Alex Jones was going on in Russia today in 2009, 2010, to give it credibility. Before I end this podcast, I want to follow up with some other, I want to thank those of you that commented on the recent video about the Proud Boys in Portland. A couple things that I want to add to that podcast that wasn't mentioned. Because a lot of people have been looking at the controlled opposition element of Alex Jones. And here we see Alex Jones involving himself in the affairs of Portland. A real example of projecting, right? Accusing those protesters of being trucked in when they actually live there, being bussed in. And then yourself probably paying someone else, Joey Gibson and his crew, right? To help facilitate the bussing in of the Proud Boys into Portland, Oregon. So Joey Gibson's route, watch the Mike Bluehair interview on the Pete Santilli show. Not a Pete Santilli fan, but the interview was revealing. But according to Mike, Joey Gibson's protest march was pointed directly at this path where Antifa was already located. Now keep in mind, they're not there. The Proud Boys isn't coming in to clear the path for ICE to continue their upholding, quote unquote, the law. Where the ICE protesters are, just so you know, for those of you that aren't in Portland that don't know where these things are going on, the fighting in the street stuff's happening downtown where there's businesses and people eat like dinner and stuff. Yeah. The ICE facility, that's over by Macadam Avenue in Southwest Portland in like the nice neighborhood and stuff. Like that facility. I think that's also interesting that they have an ICE facility in Portland because these ICE facilities could be used for things later on. You know what I mean? American citizens, maybe journalists, other people that are that go through some form of internment. And the number of people that could be interned as we look towards the future, unless we see a real reverse in direction, that list is growing. That list is growing. You see how they also normalize conspiratorial thought about the government putting us on lists 10 years ago, 15 years ago? People like Alex Jones showing us these documents and showing us these drills and freaking us out in a healthy way. I would say only healthy if we wake up from the left-right paradigm and we try to free ourselves. It certainly becomes an abusive situation when they make the conspiracy mainstream and, hey, it's okay to be concerned about these people that are placed in power. It's okay to call them puppets. It's okay to call them selections. It's okay to say left-right paradigm. And then to see Trump elected in 2016 and be told, no, you can't talk like that anymore. We'll just call you a liptard. We'll call you a little snowflake. How you doing, little snowflake? How's the little snowflake doing? The little snowflake, little happy sticker? And it's like this level of like childlike talking to each other. Oh, look at the little snowflake. When like, I'm going to call you crazy poopy head. It's degenerated. This is the conspiracy playing itself out in plain sight. This is the idiocracy. You know, it is like watching something from the movie Idiocracy, where he gets up on the stage and he says something and the crowd laughs or starts crying. That's how I kind of think about Trump going to Europe. He like comes up, here's the conspiracy out in plain sight. He's not overstepping. He's not misthinking. He is carefully saying, it is all carefully crafted, very deliberate, things that he is saying in a calm tone. I'm going to say it loud and clear. Right? Immigration has effed y'all all up, and just generalizing the whole thing, not even differentiating between good and bad, just all bad. Bad, bad. Yeah, you guys are screwed up. Just widespread insult. What about people that are good human beings? Do they even have, right, a place in the spotlight for their story to be told? Not in this world. This world is opposed to that. If someone tries to stand up and share their story and say, no, I'm not like this, what you're demonizing, they could be called an SJW. They could be called a snowflake. The conspiracy is out in plain sight. That's what they've done. They brought out conspiracy talk and even discussing racism and accusing different people of being with the KKK or Nazi party. All that's normalized. So it's all just a sea of noise. And a lot of people don't know how to differentiate one bit of noise from another bit of noise, let alone whether that piece of noise is truthful or disinformation. So here on my YouTube channel, I try to keep it real, share from the heart, and not hold back, and try to bring us together on the issues that matter. Because there's a lot of people that are trying to listen to the inner truth within. And I will close here with something positive. As you take time to maybe meditate, to write, to read a book, it's not easy to do those things. Maybe there's certain times where we need to unplug from the internet, unplug from certain things, and then tune into that knowledge within. Yes, it's something that I'm doing to discuss the things that are going on, worldly things, active protests, political tensions, the left-right paradigm, as I live in nature because I was called to do so. But you may be on a different path. That doesn't include sharing your truth with the world. But I feel that I have a responsibility to do this. You know, there was a time in my life where it was novel for me to be discussing these things before the public, and people were shocked that a young man was discussing these things without showing fear, having fear of the system, and has lived to tell the tale. Now it's a busy dance floor, if you will, with a lot of people, a lot of noise. Some people use the word competition, a lot of competition on YouTube. There's just a lot of us out there. And the greater reality is it's a sea of noise that we're competing with. It's a difficult world here in 2018. And so this saga will continue. What I'm trying to do is reach people in a day and age, and I believe that I'm giving you a lot more truth than some people in the alternative media and mainstream media. That's what I believe. That's my opinion. Okay, yes, I'm in a way biased in a positive sense towards the message that I'm sharing with you. But at the same time, I'm seeing this machine, this algorithm, and even some real human beings unsubscribing and tuning out, although many of you are subscribing, and we have more subscribers than ever. But yet, the view count doesn't always reflect that. That seems to be an element of the matrix. So I'm hoping that we can improve that. Remember to keep coming back, keep it here, even if the machine doesn't tell you. And every few days, I'll have more updates here at youtube.com/Alex Ansary. All right, that's about enough out of me. It is a hot mid-July afternoon. We'll see you in the next podcast.